You can't be my friend and not know what a SMART goal is. You can't know how to set your goal, and you can't know how to bring your goal to life through phases. Like, you can't not know how to do all these things and be my friend. Like, there's no way. So if you want to be my friend and you want to start making goals and crushing them, finish watching this video.
So bring it over. Bring your love to me, baby. Bring your love to me, baby. So bring it over. Bring your love to me, baby. Hey, so I can treat you like a queen, baby. Like a queen.
All right, friends, we are back. And if you watched the last video, then you saw how I taught you what a SMART goal was, even though I be forgetting the acronym sometimes. Don't be judging me, but I know how to set a SMART goal and how to crush it. And before we get into this new video on how to bring your goal to life and crush it in phases, before we get into that, I want you to stop, pause for the cause. I don't want you to like this video, and I want you to comment, "I'm here, let's be friends." And I want you to watch it to the very end, because when you watch the video all the way through, you gain that insight and you gain the knowledge that you need to set those goals so that they will be specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. All right, and you'll know how to do it in phases. So let's go. All right, so we talked about the SMART goals, SMART acronym for specific. So you remember, you got to make sure your goal is specific. What exactly is it that you want to do? You can't say, I kind of want to. No, I want to do this. And I use the, I use the example on the last video that I wanted to bake 100% of my family's bread. And in order to do that, I had to be specific about it. 100% of my family's bread, anything that includes flour that creates a bread-like consistency, including cookies. Okay? And then measurable. How can I measure this goal? And one thing that I said about the measurable is setting your goal in phases. Okay? So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, however many phases you need, but I really wouldn't go anywhere past stage 5, because then it's going to be a never-ending stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, never-ending stages. So I would say when you're setting your SMART goal and you're trying to measure the goal, you want to go anywhere from 3 to 4 stages. After 4 stages, you should have completed your goal. All right? And then we have achievable. Is this goal achievable? Can I truly achieve this? And yes, you can. So long as you have flour, water, oil, and salt, you can bake bread. That's what I had to tell myself. And it is so true. It is so true. And then we have relevant. Is it relevant? Yes, me baking 100% of my family's bread is very much relevant, especially the way grocery prices are rising. And we need to, we need our bread. Like, bread is life, And what we're not going to do is pay $5 plus for a loaf of bread when we can bake bread for less than $1 in some cases, depending on the bread recipe. All right, and then time bound. And remember what I said? I said you want to have at least 4 stages, and this is with the measurable. So you want to have the 4 stages. How long is stage 1 going to take? How long is phase 2 going to take? How long is phase 3 and stage 4? Stage, phase, I'm going to use that term interchangeably throughout this video, because stage, phase, it's all the same. Okay? So now that we know what a SMART goal, so that way you don't have to go all the way back to that video, but if you want a more in-depth explanation of a SMART goal, then I invite you to go to the video. I'm going to link it right up here. And I want you to watch that video and take notes, because in this video, we're going to talk about setting up our phases. So I'm going to continue to use, no, I'm not going to continue to use that. Or maybe I should, because you might be wanting to bake your own bread too. Okay. So phase 1 or stage 1 of my bread baking goal, my 100% bread baking goal. And that consisted of me figuring out what breads I wanted to learn how to bake. So I know for sure that I wanted to make dinner rolls, sandwich bread, hot dog buns, hamburger buns, English muffins, and bagels. I think that was like the first 5 things that I wanted to learn. And you know, everything else, I learned it as I went on. But stage 1, phase 1, you want to figure out what exactly do I want to learn right now. So I figured out what it is that I wanted to learn. And so then I started scouring the internet and good old YouTube on these different recipes. And all of these recipes were beautiful, except they had egg and milk in it. And we can't bake, and I knew that I could not bake bread with milk because my daughter has a dairy sensitivity. Okay, so I did my relentless research, watching video after video. I did the actual recipe, you know, but except I did water. So I was like, let me just try water instead. And I was using the butter and all those things. And then I eventually phased out from using milk and butter in my bread to only using water and oil. Okay, so first, phase 1, what do I want to learn how to bake? And what does it need to be? Does it need to be dairy and egg free? Does it need to be enriched? Do you need the dairy and eggs and butter and all those things? This is what you want to, you know, ask yourself when you're researching this in stage 1. Okay, so that's how we're going to bring our goal to life, by stepping into phase 1. All right. And when we're in phase 1, we want to stay empowered. We want to know that, hey, I'm going to complete this goal and I am going to be I'm going to be baking 100% of my family's bread. Empower yourself. I empowered myself. There were days where I'm like, what if I get sick? How am I going to make sure that my family has bread? Are we going to buy more bread? And my answer to that was, Lacey, bake bread, put it in the freezer, heat and eat. But that was also a learning curve because I had never, you know, baked bread. I didn't know how to heat it up. So that was trial and error, you know. So you want to be thinking about these things in stage 1. And then after stage 1, and actually before I get on to stage 2, in stage 1, you want to make sure, like, hey, I'm going to give myself so many months. So in stage 1 of bringing your goal to fruition, I'm going to say give yourself at least 2 months. If you want to make sure you have it solid, give yourself 3 months. And in this, because you said you want to, because, okay, back to my, what is that called? My example. I said I wanted to bake sandwich bread, bagels, English muffins, hamburger buns, hot dog buns. So I started out with making French bread. French bread is the most easiest recipe. And then from there, I use that French bread recipe because it doesn't use any milk and it doesn't use any butter. French bread only consists of salt, flour, water, and that's it. It really doesn't even use oil. We can add oil, but then it's Italian bread if you add oil. All right. So I started making that. And then stage 2, after I learned, you know, all these different recipes, but then I saw, hey, with this French bread, I can make my hamburgers. I can make my hot dogs, you know? So that's what I did. And so for phase 2, I started being more adventurous and I started making, you know, my hamburger buns, hot dog buns, and English muffins. I started essentially baking all these breads with just a simple recipe. Okay, so stage 2 is how am I going to expound upon the knowledge that I recently got in stage 1. So in stage 1, if you were doing your research and you were starting to do, a little baking here and there like I did, in stage 2, I was expanding that knowledge on that recipe, that bread recipe, and I used it to bake other bread items. So I was using that Italian bread recipe to make my hamburger buns and my hot dog buns and English muffins. Okay, so that's 3 bread recipes. I'm like, okay. And then we have stage 3 of learning. So stage 1 is gaining the knowledge, doing your research, and start with the hands-on. Stage 2 is expanding that knowledge and expanding the versatility. Okay, I can add this, but you don't want to add on too much in stage 2 because you still got stage 3 and 4. Okay. So in stage 3, now that we've added on to the versatility, now it's time to say, hey, now I need to start doing research and start understanding baking bread, putting it in the freezer and reheating it. Okay, so I learned that. And in all of my studies, I learned that you have to make sure you double wrap your bread in plastic. So you do the plastic wrap and put it in a Ziploc bag if you can. And then to heat it up, you want to make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees and you preheat it when you heat it up for 10 minutes. How did I know this? For one, I actually didn't research this online. It was trial and error. I remember the first time that I reheated some bread, it was hard as a rock. And that was because I was fresh to it. And, like I said, it took trial and error. So stage 3, you're going to expand even more in that same goal. And one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be bouncing back and forth from goal to goal. That's not how you reach your goals. You reach your goals by focusing on one goal at a time. And 3 and 4 is really simple. 1 and 2 is like the main nitty gritty, but 3 and 4 is you continue to expand. And then on stage 4 is when you crush it. So like I said, in stage 3, I was learning how to bake bulk bread, put it in the freezer properly, and how to properly reheat it. And then stage 4 is just continuing to perfect it. And in stage 4, we weren't buying bread anymore. We weren't buying any store-bought bread. We used to buy sandwich bread. We used to buy buns. We used to buy English muffins. We used to buy bagels. But guess what? We stopped because I had already stocked up our freezer with bread, and I had already been versatile with the bread making, and by that time my family did not want to buy any more store bread because my bread just tastes better. And that's the beauty of it. When you crush your goals, when you take the time to put your goal into actionable steps, actionable, stages, you get to your destination faster than you expect. And when you look at it now, I have been baking my family's bread, 100% of my family's bread, and customers' bread. Yeah, after I learned the basics of bread baking and expounded upon my knowledge and perfected my craft, I opened up a bakery, a micro bakery, of vegan bread. And let's be real, that wasn't part of the goal, opening a bakery. But when I saw the need and I started posting my bread on social media more often, hey, can you send me some? Of course I can. And that's how I turned my goal of baking 100% of my family's bread into an entrepreneurship venture. So not every goal has to turn into an entrepreneurial venture. Like I said, it came out of the blue, I just perfected it, that well to where I was able to open up a bakery. So say, for instance, you have a goal of setting up a cleaning schedule. That's another one of my goals. Like after I get done with this video, I gotta go fold some clothes. So I had originally put on my vision board that I was going to set up a cleaning schedule. And in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna do this, cleaning schedule. I'm gonna only clean on the weekends. No, I'm not doing that. So what I did was, my phase 1 after I made my goal. And setting your goals will look different, but if you want to get down to the science of it, that's why I'm teaching you the SMART goal. So I put it on my vision board, and then I went into my phase 1 of testing out weekend cleaning. I don't like that. I feel it takes away from my weekend. So what I have to do now is what I told myself in this phase 1 is that whenever we see a need, we fulfill it. So I know that I have clothes that I need to fold. I'm going to fold as many as I can before I have to start breakfast. Okay? So what I want you to do today, and also if you have stuck around to the end of this video, kudos to you, because you're trying to better your life. You're trying to reach and crush goals, and you're trying to live the best life in the life that you always dreamed of, friend. And I'm not mad at you. And like I said, my homework for you is today, write out your phase 1. You know, after you figure out your SMART goal, write out your phase 1. How am I going to initiate this goal? How am I going to get this started so that when I get to phase 4, I'm going to crush it? Because phase 4 is the crushing stage. It's when you have reached your goal, because you've done the work 1 through 3 to get you to 4. You can't just make the goal and jump all the way to 4. It doesn't work like that. You got to have phases or stages, and you have to, you know, be mindful that greatness is not built overnight. There's phases to it. And just know that you are worthy and you can do it. You can do it. So in the comments, I want you to tell me what kind of goal that you want to make. And if you don't want to share, then I totally understand. But if you want to share, tell me the type of goal that you want to make. And if you need any assistance in creating your SMART goal, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to help you. So until next time, balance, love, and light.